This week on the podcast, Carrie and I are sharing some tips about what you need to do before you go to Walt Disney World. There are only 7 things that we really think you need to focus on before you go. Stay tuned to hear what they are. You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're 2 best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, Francine.
How are you doing today?
Just peachy.
Peachy.
Yes. I know my mic is very, very sensitive.
It is.
So, I don't know if you heard that, but I said just peachy, and Figaro, who's laying in the bed beside my desk, went,
He's having a great day. A very lazy day.
He's having a lazy day.
Aww.
So, it's Peachy, and Figaro, if anybody's wondering, is having the best snooze of his life.
Aw. Well, that's good.
Which is pretty much every snooze.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being a cat? Every snooze is the best snooze. Like, you wake up and you're like, that's a great sleep. And then guess what? The next time you wake up, you're like, that was a great nap. And then you wake up again. Dang it. I'm good at this. Let me stretch.
Well, when you get to do it so often, you would obviously
they're pros.
Yeah, they perfect the art of napping.
Mm-hmm. They do.
What a life. What a life.
Yep.
Napping, eating, drinking, napping.
Don't forget the pooping in the litter box. That's all cats really do.
Here we go. Everybody's going to start getting those ads for Pretty Litter again.
You said it, not me. Although I was going to say it if you didn't say it.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty Litter.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways. Sorry, I didn't mean to put, Figaro in the spotlight.
Well, I haven't seen him lately. He has not, quite frankly, he has not interrupted any podcasts lately.
No, he's been a good.
He's been very good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's preoccupied with other things, I guess.
He's got a lot on his mind.
He's got a lot to do in between those naps.
Oh my gosh, Carrie.
Well, it's springtime, so if anybody has cats, they generally wanna they hear all the birds chirping, so they're interested in other things. There's a lot more window sitting and being preoccupied with what's happening outside if you have cats that. Even though if they go outside and the wind blows, they poop their pants, their kitty pants, they still are preoccupied with what's going on outside. Most cats are like that. They don't, even if they don't go outside. They want to go outside till they get outside, and then they realize that a leaf falls and they look all of a sudden like a porcupine and they run in the house. So, anyways.
Oh, Carrie.
This is a Pixie Dust Fan podcast where we talk about Carrie's cats. Hear Carrie's cat stories.
Yeah, but usually they're at the end. They usually have something to do with your pixie dust at the end.
True.
This time they were like a prelude to the episode.
Yeah.
Oy.
Okay. Enough cat talk.
Enough cat talk. What are we talking about this week?
We are going to talk about what you need to do when planning a Walt Disney World vacation. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Yes.
What we need to do.
So full disclosure, we actually prepared for this one.
We did.
Which is funny because we said we were like gonna run through this. We really thought this through. We did.
And we'll do a vote. Which would you prefer?
When we prepare or not? But
talk about nothing.
So you and I, we've had multiple conversations about different variations of topics in terms of planning for Walt Disney World. And we started off, should we share some good advice? But one of the things that always comes up for us is, what do people really need to do before they go to Walt Disney World? Like, before you get to the parks, before you get to Orlando, what do you really need to do? Not what everybody says you should do, but what's really important to do before you plan or while you're planning.
Right.
So we made a list.
We did.
And we did. And we may or may not have talked about some pieces of this in different fashions. But this is the list of, it was 7 things. 7 things that you and I believe people need to do before they go. So if you do nothing else, these 7 things are what you should do before you go.
Correct.
Based on the knowledge of Carrie and Francine.
Hashtag we're sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on. Number 1.
And in full disclosure, it is do as we say, not as we do.
We do all of these things almost.
Okay, we'll
and
see.
Really, they're obvious. Like generally, they might be obvious things for the Disney, like people
the
that already go to Walt Disney, the pros.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll embellish.
But I'm sure, and you know what? They're good reminders, and they're good for people that maybe don't go as often.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Number 1, Carrie. What's number 1 on our list?
So number 1 on our list is, to the best of your ability.
That's the
understand.
Caveat.
That's the caveat, because this is not an easy one. Before you go, to the best of your ability, try to understand the My Disney Experience app and Genie Plus.
Yes.
So that's the best of your ability. Sometimes people can kind of understand it before they go. Sometimes the aha moment doesn't happen until you're there and you've used it for the first time. You've picked your first lightning lane in the morning.
Yep.
And you've been at the park for a few hours and you're like, this is a piece of cake. I got it. But just don't show up on your trip and not have opened up the app yet.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so important to open the app, look around, where are the buttons, how do I find, where is the resort versus the park stuff, how to navigate it, and just getting familiar with it so that it's not quite so overwhelming when you're there.
And I think a thing too is that you can't really understand it 100% until you're there as well, because there's some things that like your resort information isn't there until you've checked in and you're arrived, right? Like to see the bus wait times or to see just more information. Like there is stuff that really works better when you're actually there, right?
Exactly.
And can we talk?
Like I've told people about the bus times and stuff like that, and then I'm trying to show them before they go, and of course it's not there. So but they do know how to find their resort in the app.
Right. And there's lots of buttons.
Yeah.
There's lots of buttons too, right? So I think that if at least you're a little bit familiarized and you know what some of the features are and you know the different screens and what things are, then at least you know where to go when you're there that first day too, right? Like exactly. You know what buttons or what features are. Like sometimes people will say, "Where's this?" And I'm like, "Well, on the welcome screen, but you got to scroll down. It's one of those buttons that's farther down, right?"
Yeah.
So yeah, just understanding it the best you can. And there is a YouTuber that does amazing videos. We can
mention him.
Tell people about him.
Yeah, he's not linked to any other agencies or anything like that, and he's not selling. He's not he just seems like a legit fan. He's not a Disney pusher.
Created videos. Yeah, and it doesn't seem like he has any drama. So the YouTube channel, his name is Ear Scout.
Ear Scout on YouTube.
Ear Scout on YouTube, and he does really fun videos and shows you screenshots, shows you like how to do things. He just makes fun of it. Like he just has a fun time with teaching people the basics about some of this stuff. Like if you go down the Ear Scout rabbit hole, he probably has like lots of videos now about every little minute thing, but he has like basics on how to use Genie Plus, how to pick lightning lanes, how to do virtual queues. Like if you just stick to his couple of videos, like if you really want to see the app in action exactly as it should, I think that is like finding someone like that will help versus reading the instructions, because we've all read the My Disney Experience Genie Plus instructions.
I think Disney's, I don't know why they can't just be clearer.
Yeah. the instructions like kind of make sense, but again, like until you see it, and I think that's where it gets confused. Like you read the instructions, you watch the little videos where it's just like they have like 45-second videos that show you how to do stuff, but it just maybe isn't enough. So so
that's a good tip.
Find someone like the Ear Scout that does a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But don't go too crazy about it. You don't got to watch all his videos. You just gotta our advice is just to watch the basic ones so that you can be like, oh, okay.
Now, I think you can be like, now it makes sense.
Because I think that's one of the biggest anxieties now about going is the app, right?
Yes.
Like the app, like that's huge. Like,
right.
The app is it. Like they don't understand how it works. They're afraid they're not going to know how it works. They're afraid it might not work. They're afraid of whatever. Huge anxiety. So I think a video like his will help you be like, oh, okay, it's not like, okay, it makes sense. And really, we all use apps, so it's really just wrapping your head around how to use that app.
Yes. Yeah, and when you arrive there, Walt Disney World itself is so overwhelming. You've traveled, you're getting there. The last thing you want to do is be looking at this app that is, quite frankly, your lifeline while you're there for the first time when you arrive. And it has so many great features in it. So you just kind of want to be able to see and navigate through them. The maps of the park, wait times, things like that. Like, they're all very valuable things to know when you get there. But Carrie's caveat is so true, to the best of your ability. If you are like an app ninja, you can navigate any new app on your phone in 5 minutes or less, then great. You're going to know this app inside and out before you get there. If you're not as familiar with using apps like this, then get a general feel, a general understanding for it, and take some time to just go through it so that when you arrive, it does make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't gotta be a pro. Amen. Because the cast members will help you when you're there as well.
Yep.
So just, chill. Okay. Chill. Number 2 on our list, Carrie.
What, do I gotta read them all?
Well, you wrote them down.
Jeez. Ay. Okay, before you go, you have to make your park pass reservations.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. That's why I said do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I don't do this very well.
Like, I think people know they have to make them, or they know that maybe people know that they exist, that there's a reservation system, but sometimes it's confusing. Like, what does it really mean?
Yes.
Right? Like, does it mean that I have to just do like the first day and then I'm going to pick the next days? Does it mean that I have to pick them if I'm going to hop to other parks?
Yeah.
Does it mean like if I pick them now, like, does that mean that I can never change my plans?
Right. Exactly.
So there's a little bit of confusion before about what they really mean, but you absolutely have to have them picked.
Yeah, you can't get into the park without a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some caveats as well. So go in, pick your park pass reservations, plan which days you're going to go to which park. It also helps if you've got any other plans that you want to do around that. At least you know what park you're intending to go to on that day. But if the park unless you're there like Christmas week, March break, generally
any holidays,
you can generally mix them up if you want to, right? Like if you book Magic Kingdom for your Monday morning when you arrive, and then you decide I want to go to Epcot instead, chances are you're going to be able to switch it. If you can't switch it because the park doesn't have any reservations, quite frankly, do you want to go to that park that day?
Good point.
Right? Like if I go online and there's no reservations for the Magic Kingdom that day, I don't know that I want to go to that park because it means it's extra busy.
That's extra good advice. Exactly.
So
I think that's a good point. I think too, like the pressure of like deciding what, like, having to make these selections too, right? Exactly like you said, like there's usually lots of availability, but you can, if you book your trip way in advance, you can make your park pass reservations based on your original plan, and then in like a month you can change them, and a month later you could change them if you want to. Like it really is only maybe the few weeks prior to your going that you might see that some of the parks have have no reservations available, right? So, so you need to make them, but you have lots of time to figure them out, and you can fiddle around with them, and you can kind of have fun with figuring out which days you're going to do which and switch them around. Like, that's allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's a good idea to have them because, as you know, as not a pro, meaning not a frequent traveler to Walt Disney World, it is a little anxiety inducing to end up at the park and realize you don't have a reservation. Mm-hmm. Right? Because then you get in line, you get up to the thing, then they got to figure it all out. You got to stand to the side. So it's just, it's a much, trust me, because this is generally what happens to me because I always forget. It's just better to have them in advance, especially if you have a whole family. Like usually it's just me. And I show up at the park and I'm like, oh, I forgot. So then I got to go make my reservations. But if you've got like a family of 6 or something with you and nobody has reservations, yeah.
Could be a bit trickier.
It could be trickier and you're all standing there in line. And, you know, when you're trying to herd everybody together and organize everyone, it's just easier if you have those made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it.
Cool.
Okay. You can do number 3. Do you want to read number 3?
Sure, I can.
I did message you. You do have the list.
I do. Okay. Number 3. Decide and prioritize your must-dos.
Right. Because you can't do everything.
No, you cannot do everything. Don't even try. Don't even think it. Despite what everyone tells you, you can't do everything. What are your, I'll be happy if I get to do these things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What are the
and if you,
absolute must-dos?
And I think like I know some people like keep the trip from their children for a long time. Maybe don't tell them till closer to their travels. But I think like if your whole family's in the loop on this trip, it's good to like have your family prioritize what, like all the kids prioritize what they want to do. Like if there's a family of 4, everybody kind of says what are their top 3 things, and you can kind of plan and have a little bit of fun figuring out a master plan for each park. Like, you know, there's stuff to do at all the parks. You can't do it all. So between the group, what does everybody want to do the most? What are things that you don't want to do at all?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Cross them off the list.
Cross them off the list. If you don't want to go sit through, I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but if you don't want to go sit through the Tiki Room or It's a Small World, cross it off the list.
First, if you should not cross those 2 things off your list because they're Walt Disney World classics.
Exactly.
But yes, if something is not your cup of tea.
If people are afraid of birds, maybe they don't like the Tiki Room.
Yes, for sure.
You never know.
Mark them off your list. Like have a little game, like have a printout of all of the Lightning Lane attractions and just make notes. Like, you know, who wants to see what the most? Does everybody want to see everything? Like make a schematic master plan if you want. and then that's kind of when you're there, you bring a highlighter and you highlight all the stuff that you wanted to do and just make sure you're getting that stuff done.
Yes. Because you don't want to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And then leave and be like, oh, you know, the only thing I said I really wanted to do was Space Mountain and I didn't do it. Right? Yeah, like that's what you don't want to have happen. So what are the things that you really want to make sure you get done? And then the rest of the stuff is gravy.
And I think too, like if you are paying attention to like the Disney Parks blog and seeing like the new foods or the new pop-up thingies that they're doing just because of a holiday, Valentine's, Easter, whatever, you know, something you want to go to a resort to see something like, for example, the Easter displays or whatever that you need, like that stuff should go on your to-do list too, because once you get there,
mm-hmm.
you forget about all the little things that you thought you were going to do. Something you had your heart set on, like
happens to me all the time. Again,
you know what?
Do as I say.
You know what it was for me? Because in January, I didn't make that I didn't make that to-do list, and I went in January, and I left. You're not going to believe this.
Uh-oh, what'd you do? What'd you miss?
I left without picking up the Sam the Eagle Sipper Cup.
Oh my gosh.
The horror I felt when
Seriously?
I got home and I realized it wasn't even on my radar because I didn't make that list. I was too concerned about, planning the trip for everybody else and doing everything that
Carrie,
I wanted to make sure that they did.
But you did get it, right? Like somebody picked it up for you.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That kind of spoils my story. But yes,
sorry.
I did happen to have a friend that later on was like, "Did you get this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't."
Oh my gosh. No, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, do I have to go like to the underground on eBay and find you a Sam the Eagle sipper?
But anyways, my point is, like, even little things like that. Yeah. Like, is there anything like, even with snacks, like if you've
souvenir, or
a souvenir, the Mickey like you always want to have a Mickey pretzel, you always want to have a Dole Whip, you would, like, if you've heard of something you've always wanted to have, like, in addition to putting all of the highlighting, the must do rides and crossing off them, I don't want to do rides, like, you should put a list of the things that are kind of on your Disney trip bucket list, so that because when you're at the parks, that stuff will be gone. Like, there's so much stuff, there's so much excitement, you're having so much fun.
Yes.
That it's very easy to forget some of the little things that you were looking forward to, and whatever. And if you don't do them, then it's not the end of the world. Like, but if there was something that you had your heart set on, it just goes with this point. Like, prioritize and decide what some of those things are, and have a written or in your phone a plan, so you can check them off, or scratch them off, or highlight them off.
Seriously, but it's such a good Carrie. I'm the same, that I am never prepared with the list of. I see all these things online, and I'm like, oh, I have to try that when I get there, or I got to go buy that, and then I get there and I completely forget about it all, and then I get home and I'm like, I don't even think I saw that because I wasn't looking for it, right?
Yep.
Sam the Eagle.
Mm-hmm. Sipper cup. Yep.
Okay. Especially with the festivals. Like, they put out 700 pictures of new snacks at the festivals. I don't even know what to try. So then I wander around looking at them, and then I try nothing. That's what happens to me. Except on the last day, I'm like, I got to go at least try one of them. So, yeah. Okay, so that was decide and prioritize your must-dos.
Yep.
Number 4.
Number 4 is decide if you want to have any dining reservations.
Ooh, that's a good one. They are not mandatory, people. You can go to Walt Disney World without dining reservations. You can go with 1, you can go with 7, you can go with none.
Exactly.
It is not mandatory that you have dining reservations coming out your ears when you go to Walt Disney World.
Right. The pressure to provide your family with a character dining experience isn't mandatory. It's not for everybody.
No, it is not. And it is expensive. Some of these character dining meals are very expensive, and not everyone can do them, let alone should do them.
Right. So if you want dining reservations, you need to make them in advance.
Yes.
If you don't get your dining reservations, don't worry about it too much, because there's lots of opportunities before you go to get dining reservations the week of, the days you're there, the morning of. Mm-hmm. You decide that you want to do something, check the app and you might be able to get something.
Yep.
But before you go, if you can make them, you should pre-plan them, and then at least one less worry while you're there that you've got your dining reservations in place. But I think now too, like what you said, they're not mandatory. Is that now maybe like the Disney parks of yesterday, where it was like burgers and fries and popcorn and churros or whatever. Now there's so much stuff. Like, even if you had a table service restaurant every day, like, and you don't have room you start your day with a big Mickey Bounty breakfast and you're full up, and then you've got like a big dinner planned. Yeah. Like, you're missing all of there's fantastic quick service. There's fantastic snacks and treats and everything that you don't want to miss some of them too, right?
Exactly. Like, it's funny you say that, because years ago that was it. Unless if you wanted a burger and fries, you ate quick service. If you wanted any other kind of food, and people used to be like, I can't live on burgers and fries for the week, then you had to make dining reservations at restaurants to do that. Mm-hmm. But the quick service meals now, there's so much variety. There's so much available that you don't need to have a sit-down dining reservation in order to not have a burger, fries, or hot dog. Now, all of those are still good foods, but there is availability to do other things as well. So, and I think when you're sitting at home and you're reading online and you're thinking about these things, you're like, of course, well, I gotta eat every day. So I want to have like character dining 7 days. But I don't think it sounds like a good idea when you're sitting at home. When you're in the park and you've been going all day and it's hot and it's sticky and you have 700 other things you want to get done, and you now have to take 2.5 hours out of your day to either go to the restaurant, get seated, sit, eat. Like, it's a chunk of time out of your day for a sit down meal. And I don't know that people really think that part through.
Right. And I think too, like thinking like seeing online, everybody talking about all the dining reservations that they make, like what's right for your family? Like, don't fall to the pressure of like, you have to do this because this is what makes a vacation the best.
Exactly.
Like, what exactly is the best for your family? If the kids don't want to ever sit still for dining, then you're going to be sitting down for an hour and a half, probably minimum to eat. Or if the kids are picky eaters, like,
why spend $35 on a chicken finger?
Don't spend all that money on chicken fingers and fries.
Exactly.
And some family, like if you want to have a proper sit down meal every day, then that's available for you to do too. And you can do them whenever you want to do them. What makes sense for your family? Maybe lunch is better than dinner,
true.
Or whatever, right? Like you just always don't, the pressures of what other people do. You just have to think about what's right for your family.
Yep. Okay, so that was number 4. Number 5, I guess we're back to me. Number 5 is make any other pre-plans. So pre-plans and reservations, like if you need transfers, so you need to get from the airport to your hotel. Groceries, like if you need to order bottled water or snacks before. Scooters, those kind of things. All of those things, it makes sense if you order them in advance and make those arrangements. You don't want to show up at the airport and have no idea how you're getting to your hotel.
Right. And, or even think about some of those things, like like a, what do you call it? Not a scooter, but a stroller, right? Like
stroller. Yes.
Like, take the time before to figure out, is that what you like? Do you really want to, should you have a stroller rental? Whatever. Like, figure out, is that right for you and that you need, and book it in advance instead of getting there and being like, yeah, I really do need a stroller.
Yeah.
Sure, that happens sometimes, but when you're there, you want to just enjoy your trip and have everything kind of lined up and ready to go so that you're just ready to enjoy the magic, right? You don't want to be, get there and wish you ordered your groceries, or wish you bought a scooter, or wish you did this or did that, or you're going to Universal for the day, but you don't know how the heck you're getting there.
Exactly. And what? It's funny. Don't you have a bunch of people, they don't, like at home, maybe you never take an Uber. Like lots of people have never used the app, never taken an Uber. And then they get there with the intent of getting to Universal or getting somewhere else by this thing that people have told them to Uber it. But they don't know. You need an app. You need to have a credit card loaded. All of that kind of stuff in order to use it.
Yeah. So like wrapping your head around all that stuff is important, right? Like, because you can focus on all kinds of stuff when you're planning a Walt Disney World vacation.
Yes. And it's funny too. If you're 80%, 90% sure you're going to need a scooter or a stroller or whatever, it's cheaper to rent it for the week from an outside company versus going to the park every day and renting them. Exactly, so it is a money saving tip as well as convenience and less stress. It can save you some money too if you plan those things in advance. Okay. Are you okay?
What's the next one? Okay. I'll do the next one.
You'll do the next one. Okay, number 6.
Yeah. Number 6 is make, or no, not make, that was yours. 5. Familiarize yourself.
Whose list is this?
Yeah, well, we can count sometimes. Familiarize yourself with the parks a little bit.
Yes.
Study some maps. If, some people will know every square inch of the parks and know everything about every single ride and have watched videos and have every minute of their day planned. And if you're not that type of person, you don't have to be that type of person. Like if you followed along and you've done your homework on the app and the Genie Plus, and before you go, you familiarize yourself with the maps a little bit. You know which way's which. You just don't want to walk into the park and not know which park you're in, or not know. You've made your priority and your must-do list. You have a little bit of the lay of the land, so that you just have enough knowledge to get yourself moving and going. So, and I think that's more the point, like, because it's the pressure of like knowing everything, and you really don't need to know everything. You don't want to walk in a park and really not know which way's up. But you don't need to know. You don't need to be you don't have to take a master class in theme park attractions and direction to be able to survive when you're there. Because the fun part is a little bit, but then you grab that paper map, you've got your to-do list, and you got your family in tow, and you're ready to set on your adventure, right? Like,
and you get to explore.
And you explore, and you have your list, you know which way you're going to go, you start tackling things, and then you see where the day takes you, because that's what the magic of Disney is about too, right?
It is. Seeing
what happens and seeing how the day unfolds. You can have a plan where you have everything figured out and have the best day ever, and if that's the way you like to do things, then that's fantastic and awesome. But if you're not that, then the other option is no pressure.
It is.
Just do this.
It is. And just having like when we talk about you don't want to walk into Epcot and be looking for Cinderella Castle, right? It's that kind of understanding what is entailed in each park.
Yes, exactly.
Having an idea that you're going to find Toy Story and Star Wars in Hollywood Studios so that you don't go to Magic Kingdom looking for the Falcon. Having that in your brain of what is where just helps ground you when you're trying to make that day and you're looking at your to-do list. You've got a good way to kind of map it out in your brain. Mm-hmm. And it just makes you a little more comfortable in the park.
For sure.
When you walk in, you kind of have the lay of the land, but you don't need to know everything. They have a map with like Google. It's like Disney's version of Google.
You can find yourself, when you're there.
Yeah, that's how I always found my room at Saratoga Springs when I was there by myself. I got lost the one day, and then I found that thing on the app, and it walked me right back to my room. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Once you're there, everything's kind of taken care of. Like, you can't get lost. There's people to answer your questions.
Yep.
Like, the app has so many options on it, and you don't really know what you're going to use or until you're there too,
exactly.
Right? So like you can study till you know every single little thing, and maybe that's what you love, but you don't want to drive yourself a little loony, worried that you don't know everything, because you don't even know what's going to happen when you're there, right? Like, you don't know
exactly
what you'll need or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a silly tip, but I think it's just.
I think it's a good
it's
tip.
Just to kind of bring down the pressure of feeling like you need to know everything before you go. Because back in the day, there was no apps. Like, you walked into the park, you grabbed a park map, and you looked at it quickly, because you wouldn't have even known what was going on before you got to the parks, right?
Exactly.
So,
yes.
You remember those good old days.
I do. Carrie, who are we kidding? I still get lost in Animal Kingdom. Like, I don't care how many times I'm in that park, I get turned around in Animal Kingdom. I need the map. I need the app. That's how I roll.
Right.
Yeah. I always get lost in there. I don't know why. My brain just doesn't comprehend the layout. Okay, number 7. This is
the last one.
It's the last one on our tips for today.
The last one.
It's an important one. So it is absolutely no secret that Carrie and I are both travel agents in our other
magical jobs.
In our magical jobs. But we don't pressure sell here. We don't do any of that. But we do want to tell you the importance of using an experienced travel agent. That is number 7. Using an experienced travel agent, just like, to me, it's a no-brainer. You're going to spend all this money on a trip. Why wouldn't you want someone to bounce ideas off? Why wouldn't you want someone who's been there and can give you tips for your family? Like, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
And sometimes you need like a lot of support. You'll find someone that'll help you through with doing some of the steps that you need to do and helping you really understand how Genie Plus works, how you set things up, what are all of your steps, answering all of your questions. But maybe you've been quite a few times and you just want someone to, like, you're deciding to change resorts. You want to know what, you know, are these restaurants, what do you think about these restaurants? I've never been to these few before. Like, even just having someone that's not a Facebook group with 10,000 people in it, that's just going to give an honest opinion or help guide you to decide if those are the right decisions for your family. Like, I think that's the thing that a travel agent will do. Like, they take a bit of time to get to know you and what you need out of your trip. And then you can kind of focus on what's good for the person, not what's, you know, the pressures,
the general consensus.
The general, I need to have, if you don't do these 10 things on a trip, your trip's going to be ruined type of thing. You know, really focusing on making your trip the best for your family, your hotel, the best choice for your family.
Absolutely.
And everything else, what's the best choice for your family, for your budget, and for what you want out of the trip. So it's not always that you need all of the support of them helping you in the day-to-day parts of your trip, like that. Sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's just the advice. And you pay no more for these travel agents, right? You get the same price at Disney as when you book with them. So I know that's a lot of things. People think that, you know, travel agents cost money.
They do,
but they generally don't. So it's you're really just having this person help, like they provide their expertise, really. So think of it in that way. An expert by your side as you plan this adventure.
Having an expert is absolutely necessary. And there are people that have answered questions for people that sometimes are kind of random. And there's lots of questions that I get asked that I don't know the answer to for a trip to Walt Disney World, because it's so obscure and it's for that individual client. Mm-hmm. And I have to find that answer out. But you know what that means? The next time one of my clients have this obscure question, I know the answer to it. But that's kind of what we do. The thing that I will caution is that not all travel agents are the same. So there are schemes online that you will see. Come be a travel agent, you know, travel for free, those kind of things. I think they call them like multi-level marketing schemes, things like that. Not all travel agents are created equal. So when we say an experienced travel agent, that's what we mean, is someone who this is a business for them. And they are professional. They travel themselves. They spend the time to understand it all. They are not in it to try and get free trips, and they are not compensated by recruiting others. Because I don't know about you, Carrie, but I'm seeing a ton of that stuff online. A ton of that. So if you see people that are trying to recruit other agents, or recruit you to become an agent, that is not an agent that you want to book with. That's my public service announcement for today.
My public service was, we don't cost anymore. And your public service is, just watch who you're talking to.
The don't cost anymore, though, I just want to clarify for some people, there are agencies that charge fees depending on the package you book.
Right. Yeah. I should have clarified that. Like often with if you're looking at an agent that kind of Disney is their thing, they specialize in that realm, that usually if you're booking a Walt Disney World package, like you're staying on site and you're booking tickets and you're doing that type of package, then often their services come with that package. If you're looking at something,
you're staying off site, you're only going for a day,
and you're buying 2-day park tickets, then
they might charge a fee for that.
They might charge fees to help planning some of your stuff, because it really, we do this, we love Disney, but we also do it as a job, so we need to be compensated. Exactly. So that's why when there's situations where we don't get compensated, then we need to have some sort of a planning fee.
Absolutely.
Because our service, like, you get all that knowledge from us too.
Well, it's your time too, right? It's kind of it's a job where we don't always get paid for everything. And you can spend a whole ton of time to make $20. So sometimes, depending on what it is, there are fees that agencies will charge for different things. So it does not necessarily mean that if your agent says to you, because of the trip you're planning, there's a fee. It does not mean that they're a bad agency.
Yeah,
and I've seen that online. I'm like, oh my gosh, and they're like, my agent asked to charge, to book my flights, and people are like, oh my gosh, run or whatever. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. So,
and we know from our clients that they also don't want us working for free either, right?
Exactly.
Like they want to know that we're being compensated, and as much there might be some negative reaction to fees being out there in the travel industry. We also do hear clearly that our clients, when they receive our services and they talk to us and they see how passionate we are about this and what we do, a lot of them ask how we're compensated. Are you compensated enough? Yeah. So we know that generally we're not trying to be negative to say that people out there are like travel whatever. We know that our clients and people out there want to make sure we're compensated, and
that's a really good point. That's a really good point. And these
fees are like and it's not just in Disney travel; it's across the entire travel industry. As years and years and years have passed, not just because of COVID. There's lots of situations where we might not be compensated like adequately for all the work and expertise that we have. So service fees have popped up across the board in the industry for things. So it's not just a Disney thing, but that's kind of background about if you do see that, that's what it's all about. We're going to give you awesome service. We just need to be able to buy pretty litter and kibble at the end of each month.
Sometimes free really is, you get what you pay for.
True.
And pretty litter don't come cheap.
It's not, let me tell you.
We did turn into like a sales pitch at the end, so we apologize for that. Yes. But it's good information, because you know what? Not everybody knows how travel agents work or how they're compensated. Maybe that's a whole other episode. It's important.
I think that, and our folks that have been listening for a long time, they kind of know you and I don't think that they would ever think that even what we just said was a sales pitch.
It's amazing that we're both successful at this, given that we're not really good salespeople.
Yeah, we're good salespeople, but sort of. But anyways.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was our top 7 tips for what you need to do before you travel to Walt Disney World. Yay!
Hopefully our embellishments helped a little.
I think so. I think that was a very good list, Carrie. I think so. Okay, Carrie, we're at that time of the podcast.
Yepper.
Pixie dust for
my
you.
Pixie dust. Well, my pixie dust is that last night I went out with some of my high school friends.
Ooh.
So we do have a big group of high school friends, and unfortunately we almost never ever get together. But my friend Michael, who I was on his podcast a while back, Geek 4
Pod
Geek 4 podcast, he's the one that always seems to get us together. He lived in a different province, and whenever he came to our province, we would get together. He would organize us. And so he's recently moved back home. And since he's moved back home, he's become our social convener. So we've been getting together a little bit more often than we did in the past. So, and it's kind of funny that he's our social convener, but he is our social convener, and he's reaching out. And it's not just our regular little group that we would regularly have together. We're branching out. So, and I think the strategy is that if we do this more often, and we use the powers of the Facebook to reach out to our, because we have our group, but then we all have our subgroups of other people, that if we reach out there, then as we do these every couple months, that we'll get to see more different people, because, we're trying to reach out and grab more high school friends to bring the odd one in here and there, so that we can reconnect. I'm sure, as we go on, I'll see even more people that I probably haven't seen since, I don't know, high school.
That's fun.
But that's the beauty of us doing it regularly and using Facebook, that, maybe next time I'll find someone, I'll be like, hey, you want to come to this? Like, that's what we're sort of doing. That's what Mike is, not we. That's what Mike is doing.
Let's be clear. Carrie's got no part in the organization.
Maybe next time I'll do the reach out to find some different people. But he's been really like going, hey you, like, you know, and we have like a chat, and he's bringing in all these people in the chat to see if they want to kind of join in, and so yeah, the next time they'll believe it. I'm sure there'll be different people. But as long as Mike continues to be the social convener, if he stops, then
that's so fun.
We won't. But that's been fun, and it's neat to see people. Like to see these guys, because it really is like we just chit chat like all those years haven't
like nothing's
passed.
happened.
Like whenever we see each other, we just laugh and giggle and have fun. And yeah, to have some new faces pop in that we know, but you know we don't, and we know everybody from Facebook, right? You know, you see everybody. You know everything about everybody because you've been watching their families grow up on Facebook, but maybe you haven't engaged with them in real life in a long, long time. So yeah, that's my pixie dust. How about yours?
That's awesome. Yeah, mine maybe isn't quite so exciting, or it is, I don't know. I bought new luggage.
That's pretty exciting.
It is, because, you know, it's such a hard decision, Carrie. Do you buy soft-sided, hard-sided? You know, what kind, what make? Do I buy Disney luggage, non-Disney? I could, you know, anyway, because my suitcase broke. And so, yeah, I've been driving this woman at the mall that Andrew and I go to the post office. I've been driving her crazy. There's a little luggage store there. And I finally just went in and said, I'm buying it. Like, whatever. If it falls apart, it falls apart. It's not going to fall apart. It's haze.
It's not, it's haze.
But it's like, it makes me nervous because it's this new durable thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's Milos luggage, and their ad is people jumping up and down on the suitcase when it's empty. And so it like collapses under their weight, and then it just pops back to normal. So it's technically like it's a hard-sided, but it's soft. And apparently it'll never crack, it'll never whatever, blah, 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 it'll never rip. So I bought it. So, and it's light. Awesome. So here's the thing. There was another one that was harder I was going to buy, but it was 2 pounds more. And like, honestly, Carrie, the pound, like, you know me, when we're leaving Florida and I've got my scale out and I'm weighing my suitcase, I get 50 pounds. And usually I'm like 49.
Yeah.
So
every pound counts.
Every pound counts. So this suitcase I bought is 9.8 pounds.
Wow, that's light.
It's very light. The other one was 11, I think it was 11.9 or something. So I was like, no.
Garbage.
Can't do it. I love the case, but I can't afford the pounds. So I got this one. Awesome. We'll see. It'll be first time.
It's a big one too. You bought a big one?
I bought the regular, you say it like that, the big one. It's the regular size. It's what people check.
There's a big suitcase, check. And then there's the normal size suitcase.
No.
And then there's
the
carry-on.
Normal is you call it normal, I call it small. This is just, the normal one is it's called the checked bag.
The jumbo. The jumbo jet.
It's the normal size. It's normal. So.
I don't own a piece of luggage that is that big.
I have like 7
of them. I just have the normal
that,
size.
I've gone through like 7 of them. I love them. Like, why would you not? Well, anyway, that's the whole other issue. If you're checking a bag, though, you may as well buy the big one.
Congratulations to the lady at the little mall by your house that she finally made a sale with you.
I know. And you know what? Because I walk by the store all the time. There's never anybody in it. Like, I don't know how the woman survives on the rent or whatever. She's a lovely lady. But yeah, so anyway, done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I even registered it for the warranty this time, which is always the piece that I forget. So I did this time. Yay!
But if someone's going to jump on it forever and jump on it, it's not going to break.
It better.
It's not going to break. So you don't need the warranty.
Oh, yeah, but you know what happens when Fran doesn't register the warranty? She needs the warranty.
Good job.
Yes. Okay, so that's it for our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Oh, if you
stop it! She forgot to tell Anna to put in the jingle somewhere,
and to ask for the rating and review at the front. We do this every episode. I give up. Oh, yay. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.